muzzle training, I really like to have dogs chase a treat, get a lie down, and then go chase a treat again. This is really encouraging engagement with the owner. The next part of training is getting the dog used to putting their nose in the muzzle. I secure my elbow on my leg to make sure that I don't push the muzzle towards their face, and I will put a treat towards the bottom of the muzzle. To ensure that the dog still feels really good about the muzzle and is engaged in the training, I will toss the treat away from them and seeing if they want to put their nose back in the muzzle again. I make sure that I have my elbow secured on my leg. Again, make sure that your elbow is secured on your leg. If the dog is hesitant towards putting their nose in the muzzle, you can start the treat at the opening of the muzzle and then work your way back. This is another way to secure the muzzle, making sure that you don't put the muzzle towards the dog. All right, so this is actually the next step to muzzle training. I toss the treat away after we practice what we've already done before, and I'm going to change things up and put the strap over his head. I want to make sure that the muzzle isn't irritating him, so I pause, and then I will reinforce him putting his nose into the muzzle as you see here. Throughout the process, it is the dog's choice to put their nose in the muzzle. This is actually how we create that really good feeling of having the muzzle on, because they're the ones that are choosing to put their nose in the muzzle themselves. We're not doing it for them. So anytime that the dog actually has their nose in the muzzle, they are getting a treat. But there is a way to phase out the treats and build up that duration as well. Now that I see that the dog is comfortable with putting their nose in the muzzle, I actually hold the muzzle there in place and not give them treats all the time. I intermittently give them treats and then I take it off of their face, give them nice pets, and then play for a little bit or they can sniff around. While the dog is taking a break, it gives me a chance to adjust the muzzle. As you can see, the dog really wants to play the muzzle game, but I want to make sure that he takes a break. So this dog is waiting to patiently put the muzzle on his face. I did adjust the straps and making sure that I actually add on that strap that goes in the middle there. I want to make sure it is fitting nicely and he feels comfortable. While I'm checking the fit here, I am feeding him treats through the bottom. I do notice that this muzzle actually needs to be tightened a little bit more, so I take it off and feed him a treat on the ground while I make adjustments to the straps. As you can see, this dog has freedom of movement, but he still wants to put his nose in the muzzle because we're making it a fun game for him. Training can be really fun for the dog when it comes to muzzle training or any type of training if we actually switch things up for them. Instead of doing one consistent thing over and over again, they get bored with that. So if you switch things up in any type of training, it makes it a fun game and keeps them engaged. The muzzle is tightened on his face, and I am building that duration of having the muzzle on his face without always getting a treat. I take the muzzle off, trying to see if he wants pets, and he immediately wants to put his nose in the muzzle. Now that I see that the dog is actually really engaged with the muzzle game, I am tightening those straps to further the training along. Again, as you can see, the dog really wants to put his nose into the muzzle because the muzzle equals good things are coming. Throughout this training, I actually had to put the muzzle above his head because he kept on trying to put his nose in the muzzle while I was adjusting the straps. I apologize for my amazing camera skills here, but as you can see, I am putting the muzzle on and making sure that it fits well all around his nose. I am putting a little bit of tension on the straps so I can easily take off that muzzle if he ever wants to take it off, just because it is going to be really important that he feels comfortable in that muzzle. And if he ever wants it off his face, I immediately want to take it off for him. I didn't see any body language showing that he wanted to pull out of it or that it was aversive to him, so I'm going in to adjust the straps again. Now that the straps are tightened, I put on the muzzle again, making sure that it fits well. The dog did pull back a little bit with that muzzle on, so I took it off immediately as you saw. Again, I want to make sure that the muzzle equals amazing, beautiful things, and he loves the muzzle. The muzzle is his best friend. Since I listened to the dog's body language, as you saw, he did try to pull out previously, but I took it off, and now he's waiting to put his nose back in the muzzle again. At this point, I know that this dog is comfortable with the muzzle, so I'm actually focusing to make sure that the muzzle fits well on his face and nose. I will give him a treat, check the fit again, and then give him a treat again. As you are acclimating your dog to a muzzle, it is going to be really important that they feel good and comfortable in that muzzle. So checking the fit and making sure that there are no pressure points on their face or nose is going to be really important for the process. Dog's owner just came in, super excited, but I don't want the muzzle on him too long, so I am going to actually take off that muzzle.